Alrighty, so this is the introduction to leveraged buyouts, and this is the first video of the Definitely series for LBOs. And to just quickly talk about what the Definitely series is, essentially, my thought process behind creating this series was that this is kind of in line with like the 80/20 principle, right? You spend 20% of your time studying to learn 80% of the content. So all of the questions that I cover and concepts that I cover under the Definitely series are questions that I believe, based on my experience and all of like the classmates and friends that I have at like other schools, um, are questions that you will definitely get during your investment banking like coffee chat and interview process, right? So it's essentially made to make sure that you don't strike out on any like one particular item. But it's not meant to be exhaustive either, right? These are the highest impact areas for you to study. But I mean, there are some like more nuanced concepts, and I'll make more videos on nuanced concepts. Maybe I'll make like a probably series and like a maybe series or something like that, right? So yeah, that's it at a very high level in terms of what I'm going to cover in LBOs. I am probably going to make one video on like the concept, right? Then I'll make another video on maybe like a really simple example to kind of shows like the power behind like a leveraged buyout. And something that I do want to mention is that I feel like banks have been asking more and more LBO questions than they used to. At least from folks that are more senior than me that I've personally talked to, they almost always reported that they like barely had like any LBO questions in their like coffee chat and interview process. But for some reason, especially during the coffee chats, at least for for the students that I know and my personal experience, I would say like maybe like 15 to 20% of all of the questions were on LBOs, and some of them were like relatively advanced, like LBO concepts. So it definitely isn't an area which I would say to like slack on. I definitely got more LBO questions than I got accounting questions, at least like direct accounting questions, and I definitely got more LBO questions than I got like enterprise value, equity value calculation questions, right? To be fair, I mean everything's kind of built in to each other at a certain point, but yeah, this is definitely not a concept that I would skip because I mean apparently it comes up a lot more often than I thought when I first started. But it is my favorite out of all of the investment banking um, concepts. So yeah, let's hop into the first video on the concept.